Right, I've got 25 stitches and just check the pattern. I think you increase knit row. Yeah, you increase into every stitch knitwise so that you end up with 50 stitches. This is to shape the feet. So the first one, I shall increase a stitch, knit the stitch, then knit the next stitch. Oop, not twisting. Same on the next one. Increase the stitch by making a new stitch. Like so, knit the stitch, then knit the next one. I'm not using all. I don't have the dexterity I used to have when I was younger, unfortunately. So, increase the stitch, like so, knit that stitch, then knit into the next one. You do this all the way along until you have 50 stitches. Right, so now I have knitted into each stitch and I have 50 stitches. So now what I'm going to do, starting with the purl row, I am going to knit 13 rows in stocking stitch. So purl row, knit row, purl row, knit. So I've done 5 rows, then I'm going to do 8 rows of the light cream colour, which is going to be the ballerina shoe colour as well. I'm on a knit row, and what I will do is I will cut this off. That's your black colour. Cut that off. I'm trying to stay within the frame, and start by taking your new colour and you knit it just the same as you would the black. And as I say, what I'm going to do is 8 more rows in stocking stitch, and this doll is roughly about 13 inches, so it's quite a substantial size doll. I'm going to just continue in stocking stitch, knit 1, purl 1 row for the next 8 rows, and I will show you what it looks like once it's done. So just carry on. I will show you there are different ways of doing stocking stitch knit. You can do the English way, which is the way I do, where you yarn over, just carry on holding the yarn in your right hand and yarn over. There's Irish knit, where you put your thumb underneath, you wrap the yarn around your, some people wrap it around their little finger and 4th finger, and then their index finger, and still holding on to the right needle, the yarn that way, which is called lever stitch. I don't feel comfortable doing it that way. It can be a bit quicker, not that I'm a quick knitter anyway, if you're not moving much, but I don't know, I don't think that's really the the right stitch for me. I can't really say that it's something that I find easy. There's also a stitch which is so there's also, as I say, continental, where you keep the wool in your left hand like so, put the needle in there, That's not right. Put that in there and work it that way. And again, I don't find that very comfortable because I'm used to doing English knitting. Some people might find that a lot more easier to do. That like that. It might come easier if you do it all the time, like so. I will stick with the way I was taught by my mother and my grandmother, which is the English way. So that's the continental way. Do what's good for you, what you find most comfortable. I'm back. Right, so what I have done is, you'll notice I've changed needles. I was having difficulty with those little silver size 3 needles, so I've changed to my 3 1/4 needles. I just found that with them being shorter, I was losing stitches off the end, and with them being quite small needles. So I've knit 5 of the black, 8 of the cream, because they're the socks, and that's the bottom of your feet, your shoe. So that's what I've done so far, all in stocking stitch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the leg. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, this is the leg I'm working on. Right, so take that off. Actually, I'm going to cut down most of those loose yarns, so I don't have tons of loose yarn. And then I'm going to start on shaping the leg using the main body colour. Not sure which end will come out, or whether the top's coming out, that's all right. So this is the main body colour, and when you join new colours, you just simply take off the colour you're working on, then start knitting with your new colour, leaving a little tail. And all of these get sewn into the project that you're working on. But initially what I do is I start and I do the first row, making sure that you've got your wool the right way round. And with this I need to knit 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 4, let me just make sure I've got it right on the pattern. For the next 16 rows I have to knit 2 together. So knit 2 together. Knit 2 together. So that's 2. 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and I should have 12 stitches left, which I'm going to count now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Is it 12 or 13? Oh, 13 stitches left, that's right. Okay. 1, 2. And you just knit the last ones First row, let me just check. So the next row is knit 4, knit 2 together 9 times, ending with knit 12, and you end up with 25 stitches. So alright, so I shall come back once I've done the 29 rows, and as I say, I'm just going to be knitting 2 together for a further 9 stitches, ending with 12 stitches, then 29 rows of stocking stitch to complete the leg. And once I've completed the leg, I shall come back and show you. I might just, because I'm going to show you another leg, I'm just going to do that leg and show you them both together and what you need to do to attach them to the body. Because you do the legs first, then you attach them to the body, and then that creates the size of the body that you're making. Alright, so I shall be back. I've got the legs done. I've just realised, not that one. That's just where I've knitted things together. I've just realised I've dropped a stitch, so because it's all finished, and there's a loose stitch. Oops, which one is it? No, that's just the wool. So that one there is a loose stitch on the white. So now what I need to do, because it's all done and finished, is I need to get some of my white on a darning needle or wool needle, whatever you prefer to call it. Just a little one. I do like these needles because they're so easy to thread, especially when you're blind as a bat like me. Right, so go to the back of your work, find the stitch that you've dropped, which is there. It's a bit of a raggedy stitch by the looks of it, that's probably why I dropped it. And you can work it into the back. And pull that back out to go back through it. Go back in so you can pull the whole thing through like so. Then tie it off like you normally would. I think it's because I had a little loop, and that loop can go as well in there to sew it together. So, right. And once you've done this, it will all look more coherent again. Look that through your wool, hide it. Cut that off, like so. Go back through, whoops, to the front. Loop this one through, because you want it to be hidden within the work, like all the other stitches. Oops. Hope I'm in view. I'm not halfway out of shot. Like so. and work that through so that all ends end up in the back, because you don't want it dangling out the front of the leg. Okay. Oops. And that you want to work through your wool as well, and that will create the little loops and knots that you need in the wool, so that it hides it. A few, like so. Stretch it out. There we go, pull that one off. These little loose ones where I've tied it. These bits where I've tied them is where I've joined two colours together, and I've just knotted and tied the ends to keep them out the way, and then I will cut them as close to the knot as I possibly can so that they're dealt with. Right, so that's that done. There we are. So now I don't have a drop stitch anymore. A little bit holy there, but I think that's probably leading from where the drop stitch is. And I could put a stitch in there as well to just tie it together, but a lot of it looks like that because you're knitting two stitches together, and that's where the leg bends anyway, so it's not going to be that important. Right, so this is the left leg, this is the right leg, and what you now do is you knit them together. So you've ended on a purl row. No, you've ended on a purl row, so that you're then going to be knitting the next row. So you knit this one, and then on your yarn holder, I'm going to get rid of all these loose ends as well, tie them up. On your yarn holder, you then carry on knitting these ones together with that, so that they go together. You put a little, well, it suggests putting a different colour wool as a knot at the end, but since I've got stitch holders, then, or stitch markers I should say, I've got little stitch markers. I've put one there, I'm going to put one there, and that's just to differentiate the ends, or where the legs ended when you're doing the body. So now what you do is you knit both of them together to start creating the body, and that is 50 stitches. So it's 25, 25, 29 rows in the leg colour, 5 in the black, 8 in the white, 2 rows in leg colour where you're knitting them together. Right, if that makes sense, which makes 31 in all of your leg colour. Right, so I'm just going to knit them together, carry on knitting in stocking stitch for another 33 rows, and that will take us up to the shoulders of the doll. I will be finishing the whole pattern from start to finish throughout the video. So we'll start with left leg. Carry on, when left off for 29 rows. You mark on the end. You start with the leg row. You finish with the bow row. And I'll just show you how to put the two legs together. And from there, you just carry on doing one purl, one knit, stocking stitch, all the way for another 33 rows, I think it is. I'll count them. Because the pattern I'm using, this is a variation on it. And their pattern has different colours, stop. Where I'm the body colours are all the same. Just because I'm close to separate entity. That's my choice. You don't really have to do it that way. If you wanted to at certain points, you could add the panties to the actual body without having to make them separately. You could add colours for the shirt, so that you'd, when you put the body together now, you would possibly have a colour so far up to where you start shaping the shoulders. And because I'm not doing that, I'm not showing you that kind of patterning. So it's just straight stocking stitch from now on. till we get to the shoulders, and then I will show you how we shape the shoulders and the neck and the head. Right, so that's the first leg on. Now I need to knit this one on. So you just knit off your stitch holder like you would any needle, and obviously because you're knitting onto the right size needle, it will knit the same size. There we go. Obviously if you have smaller needles you have smaller size stitches, but we aren't making smaller size stitches at the moment. I've just realised I haven't put my light on. I won't be a second, I'll put the light on, you might be able to see it. So you're basically joining the legs together. And when you finish, you should have 50 stitches, and I will check. I definitely have 50 stitches. The other thing, I've just bought myself a bit of a mess with the light. I just bought myself a holder, just keep on. I just wound it around my hands and put it on there. It just needs to be on the floor, where cats can play with it, and dust can go in. So we'll be talking about doing this, and then I'll show you how to do it, which is what I was going to do. Now you can see me actually put them together. Right. I have a feeling I've stitched an extra one. So what I'll do, I have, where I stitched the extra one, I will take it back off when I get to it. On the pillow. I can't remember, definitely 25 each need to start with. I might fast forward some of this, you might think, oh, I don't want you listening. In fact, go ahead, right, let's have a look. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 51, yeah. I think I know which one it is that I did that. Let's have a look. I can see it. Bum, bum, bum. Ooh, it's one that will be very tight together. Look at that one. Yeah, that's really one stitch, and I've stitched 2, so that one needs to be stitched together when I get to it. Right, so that's what I'll do with that. So now you turn it, do purl, and as I say, 4, let me just, oh, if I put my pattern, I have to keep referring to the original pattern even though I'm doing a variation. So right, so mark each end row with a coloured thread. Well, I've got stitch markers. With right side of work facing, knit 25 stitches of the left leg onto knitting needles, then across 25 stitches of the right leg. Then you knit 33 rows, and then I will show you how you shape the shoulders. I'm back. So I've knit 33 rows from attaching the legs up to the shoulders. What you do now for the shoulders is you knit 7, oops, I've bought myself a new ring to attach the wool to, which is proving to be really useful. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next 6 times
you knit 2 together. Following that, you knit 12. Then again, for six times you knit 2 together. That leaves you with 7 stitches left. The sum total of stitches you end up with once you've decreased is 38 stitches, followed by the 3 stocking stitch rows. So I'll keep you with me whilst I decrease them. Then I will stop, because we're then on to shaping the head, and I will talk to you about that. So 2, 6, 7. Knit 2 together. I found with this wool, for some reason, I was missing a loop. Just 2, and thus dropping a stitch, so I'm being very careful. Three, 4, I'm sure I don't miss a loop. 5, 6, don't make sure I haven't missed any. So that was 2, 4, 6, 7, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knitted together, followed by knit 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oops, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to make sure I've counted correctly. So that was 2, 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now again, I have to knit 2 together 6 times. Okay, I'm going to properly. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And if it's all right, I should have 7 stitches left. 2, 4, 6, 7. That's correct. Let me make sure I haven't dropped anything. Nope. So 7 is correct. So that cinches in for the shoulders, and I need to do stocking stitch, which I'm going to do now. So I'm going to start with the purl row for 3 rows. Then I have to increase, so I shall come back once I get to the increase for the head. So I have decreased to 38 stitches, then I've done the 3 stocking rows. So now I have to start increasing for the head. So I knit 10. So let me put my yarn ring on. This is a useful little gadget I got from Temu. It holds the yarn for you. I don't know how I've managed to get the yarn through the actual ring itself. I've done that before and I've still never worked out how I do it. But I suspect it's to do with the loop, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. So you loop it, put on your finger, helps if you actually show people what you're doing. So it's a yarn ring, it has a little loop on, pop it on your finger, put your yarn in, and what it does is it helps you to hold the yarn without gripping onto the yarn, so that your yarn's always there. So now what I need to do is I need to knit 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And now I have to increase 18 stitches. So I start with the first one. I'm going to count, make sure I haven't done too many of these. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now I go into the stitch, I yarn it over, take that off, then go into the back of the same stitch, yarn over, take that off, and that's created the extra stitch. Do the same all over.
18 stitches. So keep moving on to it. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little bit tight. Can't let it get too tight. Play around. Oh, so 6. Let's check. 6, 8, 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You put it into the back of that one. And pull that through. 8. This is an easy way to increase. 9, halfway there. 10.
11.
12. 13. 14. 15. 26, I'm going to get a bit tight. 16. Oops. 17. 18.
And if I have counted correctly, there will be 10 stitches left. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Excellent. So that's the increase. Then you just knit to the end. 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Right, so that's how you increase it for the head. So you've increased all those stitches. You can't see where you've increased because they tend to be bunched together, the stitches. So that's 56 stitches, I believe. I'm going to check. We have completed 35 rows of stocking stitch. If you're unsure what stocking stitch is, I think I've mentioned it already, but it is knit 1 row, purl 1 row. So that's 35 completed from where we shaped the shoulders, and now we have to decrease it and then cast off. But casting off, we don't just cast off, we have to create a length of loop so that we can cinch it all in at the top. So I'll start by, we have to knit 2 together all the way along. I'll start off. And we ended on a knit row. So we've just completed a purl row. And all the way along here we are knitting 2 together, like so.
all the way to the end. Oops, I'll do it. As I mentioned before, make sure you get both in, so you don't have a stitch. Get both stitches in.
And I will continue, and once it's at the end I will come back. So in this instance you knit 2 together to the end, you end up with 28 stitches, and then you knit 2 together again. You knit 2 together until you end up with 28 stitches, and then you purl a row, and then you knit 2 together again till you have 14 stitches left, and then I'll show you how to cast the loop off. So I shall come back. So I have got it to 14 stitches after casting off 2 on each row for the last 2 rows, with a purl row in between them. And so now what you need to do, you cut off a length of yarn like so. You thread it through a darning needle or wool needle, or you can use a crochet hook if you prefer, and then what you do is you thread it through all of your stitches like so. You thread it through, making sure not to drop any. We've ended on a knit row, so this is the back of the work that you're looking at the moment. And you pull it through, and that creates your loop row, so that when you put it all together you will be putting your fibre fill in the top, and then you will be closing it up like so, like that. Eventually that will be your head. Alright, so that's the body of the doll complete. And now I'm going to do the arms, and then I will show you how to knit it all together. And as you see, it's quite a long piece. It's 13 inches, so it's a substantial little doll. Alright, so once I've started on the arms, I will come back. The arms, you start by casting on 11 stitches. This is how I cast on. I know there's many different ways people cast on, but this is my method. It's a very old method. I'm sure there's easier ways, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to cast on 11 stitches. Don't have my little... That tinging sound is my Coke tin being hit by the needle. I need to move it. So look, how many have I done? 2, 4, 6, 7. Oops. 8. 9, 10, that should be 11. Always count them just to be sure you haven't missed or you haven't put an extra one on. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. and you stocking stitch. So you stocking stitch by purling one row to start with. So you purl, knitting into the back of your work, or what I call the right side of your work. 2, a bit loose, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There we go. So that's your purl first row, and that's a purl row. So now you have to increase your stitches to 22. So to increase, put your wool in as if you were knitting a row. Put your wool in as if you're knitting a stitch. You yarn over, pull it through, but don't take it off. You then go into the back of the stitch, as you can see, and then you yarn over again, and then you pull that one and pull both off, and that's created 2 stitches. So you now have an extra stitch. Do the same all the way along. Into the back. Oops, don't miss a loop. Into the back. And you should have 4 stitches. Do 4. Again. Into the back of your wool. Over and pull through. So now you have 6 stitches. 2, 4, 6. You do that all the way along until you have 22 stitches. Start with 11 and you increase to a stitch in every stitch to create 22 stitches. Now once you have 22 stitches, you then need to stocking stitch 33 rows. And you're making 2 the same because it's 2 arms. Once you get to 33, I'll show you what you do next, because you have to shake the arm so that it looks like an arm. So on the doll, it's properly like an arm. So increase. This is probably the nice bit into the back. This is a different way I've shown you before. I found. Oops, it's not right, I'm going to do that properly. Right. Let's go into the back properly this time. Okay, I'll do this at the back. So up. All the way to the end. Into the back of the stitch. Create a new stitch. And hopefully it looks like this. I have 22 stitches. If not, I does something wrong. I'll come with you. Hopefully my camera won't turn off on me, which it often does, but it should have plenty of battery. Okay, let's make sure I have 22 stitches now. Ooh, let's count them. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Right, so now you do 33 stocking stitch. You're starting with a knit row. Sorry, you're starting with the purl row because you've just finished a knit row. So you do purl row for 33 rows, and then once I've done that, I shall come back. Hello again. Right, so we are on the second arm, and this is the 33rd row of stocking stitch. Remember, it's 22 stitches, 33 rows of stocking stitch. And try and do this so that it's close to the camera. I've changed the angle of the camera just to try and make it easier to stay within the lens. So I'm going to do this last purl row. I'll just keep you for a second while I do this last row.
I'll speed it up for you so you don't have to sit and watch me do this. Right. I can do something more time. Get treats out of the treat bag. We already had treats this morning. There's never enough treats as far as the cats are concerned. This is pearl row. Everyone is serving with pearls. You just put your needle from the right through to the left. Have your yarn at the front, yarn over and pull it through. There we go, yarn over, pull it through. Yarn over, pull it through.
Right, so that's the 33rd row. So what I need to do now is I need to knit, what I need to do now is I need to drop 2 stitches at the front of this row and the front of the next row, leaving 18 stitches on. So let me drop 2 stitches and to take a stitch off. You knit the first one, second one, and then you yarn it over like so. So that's 1 stitch dropped, yarn it over like so. If you get your needle in the right place, it helps. Oops, like so. And then you just carry on knitting to the end. Once I've done the next one, you stay in stocking stitch, so the next row that you're going to be knitting and taking 2 off will be a purl stitch. That's your knit stitch. Oops, didn't get it over my needle properly. It's hard to do this when you're trying to hold it in front of a camera and see what you're doing and hopefully get it within the lens. Oops. Okay, make sure my camera hasn't stopped, because it has a tendency to stop part way through. No, it hasn't, although it's looking like its battery's died. Right. Now we have the feet stitched up. We need to put the fibre fill in and then check everything looks normal. Put the fibre fill in one leg and one foot. Push it down. And the aim is to have the foot
back as far as possible. Remember now, I'm going to be pushing some little trims up. I'll readjust from the first to the bottom. Let's do the other leg. Like so. From the feet looking pretty much the same size as you can. So you can hold the edges. And that's why I was increasing and decreasing. Stitching was very good. You want the doll to be not too firm, squishy, so that's trouble. You're not going in, you're not firm at all. You want it to be a bit more squishy. Try and make them close to the same size as you possibly can. I want the toes to be podgy, rather than round, because it's going to be ballerina and podgy toes. Fill the legs to your satisfaction, and then fill the body. And I'm going to put some glass in. I'm going to make some swing out on the left. Ooh, what can I do about that? So keep them close to the same size. Everybody.
Right, and so what you do for the head, you put a length of wool, like so. Let's see if this is still going. Yep. A length of wool. Whoop. You put it through where, let's do it from the back. Just weave some wool through in the right colour where you've shaped the shoulders. All the way through, try and keep it as even as you possibly can, because you want it to be a nice, even, smooth look for the neck. You want it to be the same row as possible. You go through all the way through till you meet up again at the back, like so. Doesn't want to come off. Okay, so then when you think you've got enough of the body filled, pull the neck through, check, see if you think that looks nice enough. I like it to be fairly tight, because I'm then going to be filling up the head, but tighten it. 5 knots I put in, so that's 1, 2, I don't think I need it quite so long. 3, 4, 5. So there, we've got the pointy feet. Body that's not too big. You don't want it fat because it's a ballerina. And now I'm going to put the eyes in. Oh, but the first thing I want to do is I want to work these through. Like so. I'm going to stop the camera for the moment. Right, so now what I'm going to do before I put any more filling in is I am going to use a nice little heart shape for the nose, which I'm going to centre there. Oops, we've got a pussycat coming to have a look. So, this is not for you, miss. This is Molly. Molly the dolly. Little heart-shaped nose. And 2 lovely blue eyes. What can we get onto there? That's it, good girl. That looks pretty centred. And 2 lovely blue eyes. Either side of the nose. You can never do anything when you've got cats. That's too big. And a smaller one. That's better. Put that roughly. So it's 1, 3, 4. So count 1, 2, 3, 4. So up that way. 1 down. Does it? 1 down? Or is that about right? No, 1 down. There. It's different size catches, so you've got to make sure you've got the right one, otherwise it'll come off. Right, I need a tiny one. There we go. That's better. And I'm going to do, whoops, I'm all over the place. I'm going to do a nice little red mouth. So now I will fibre fill the rest of the head till I'm happy with it, and that's when you cinch it all together at the top. Let me just see how much fibre fill I want in. I want it to have quite a nice, not too plump face, and have to decide what I'm going to use to have nice rosy cheeks. Right, let's have a look. Yep. So now what I do, grab that. This is where we cast off lightly the head. Need to sink it all together. Come on, what's going on with you? I think I need to pick them back up again, those stitches, because I think it's come out while I've been cinching. Yeah, it's come out of them. Right, so I'm going to cinch them back up and then sew it till it's all together. Right, so cinching it together, I've picked all those stitches back up that I've dropped, pulled it all together, and then what you do is, to ensure that it doesn't come undone, you work your way round all of it like so, keeping it tight. Like this. So that nothing can come out. Oh, here's my other cat. Is he going to make an appearance, I wonder? Like so. And then you double loop again to keep it all tight. You can shape the head properly once you've closed it. Double loop. Hide it within the work. Cut it off. And then shape the head the way you want it. Okay, and obviously once she's got some hair on she will look better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up the arms the same way. Once they're sewn, you put them right way up, you sew them wrong way, all the way up, fill them, and then you fit them like so onto the side of your work. Okay, so once I've done that I shall come back. So I have sewn up the arms and put some fibre fill in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start attaching them, and what you need to do is you need to make sure you're attaching both of them roughly from the same point, which is just below the head, where the head starts, there and there. Make sure that they are centred like so. I'll get a nice long piece of yarn, whoop, to do this. And what I normally do is I'll attach the top, then see if I need to put more fibre fill. So roughly centre of the top of the neck, like so. And start attaching it across. Make sure that you sew underneath, because you want to try and have pretty invisible stitches. So you're going under the doll. Under, like so. Oops. Under. So you're hiding your stitches under the arm. You may not need any extra fibre fill, but just play it by ear and see what it looks like. Under. Making sure you always get hold of the arm. I think I'll put a tiny bit more fibre fill in that one, just a tiny bit. Not too much, I just like it to be fat at the top, want it to be fairly full. There we go, that's better. And then carry on all the way around so that you're going under, like so. I'll do a nice pink rather than sun colour, did you? That's a nice pink wool that I got from the charity shop. From Patter wool. And I can't remember which charity shop, because I was in those ones, I think it was charity. If I remember, I was in ones that were cancer research, ones that were red for peat for the animal hospital. So it might be that one where I got it from. When I saw it, I thought I really need some nice pink wool to make the stitches. So you follow me all the way around, so that you eventually get back to there. And because you put that through the banging, it means the arms don't go up and sit flat. Then they'll branch out. You don't want them flat.
Well, I've got the side, so I'll do a little bit of a plump at the top.
It's a bit more tricky the further round you get, but as long as you're catching it in the body and on the arm, it will sit nice. Gets a bit tighter as you get round, which is okay. As you see, it's hiding the stitches, so you're not going to have visible stitches. There we go. And then I'll be on to my favourite bit, putting the hair on. A lot of people do like a knitted cap to do the hair. Personally, I prefer to do individual hair strands. Hello everyone, it's been a long time since I did the last video. Oh, sorry, it's been a long time since I did the last recording. I have continued to work on the doll, but this has been due to a family bereavement, family hospitalisation and myself being unwell. So unfortunately it couldn't be helped. Alright, so then what I did is I put two little pinion eyes. They secured from the back. Same with the nose, that's secured from the back, and simply just stitched in the mouth. Just one strand of wool, you knit in, come out, knit back in so that you've got the shape, then you come back out the same place, you work onto that one. You then capture a little bit of the mouth there from the inside so that it stays in place. You then knit over, and again you knit in, you knit out, you knit over, and then you work the wool out and cut it off. Very simple, very easy, very effective little mouth. I already had this ribbon, so I thought it looked nice on her, and I decided I did do black for the hair, but I didn't like it, so I decided to go with this nice colour, and I think she looks very pretty with the blonde hair. I've cast on 150 stitches. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to knit 5 rows of garter stitch. Remembering garter stitch is where you knit every single row, you don't purl. Once I've done 5 rows, then I'm going to do stocking stitch for 3 rows, starting with a purl row. So 5 rows of garter stitch, 3 rows of stocking stitch. Then I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. I have knit 8 rows, 5 rows in garter stitch, 3 rows in stocking stitch, and now I'm going to join the red wool, and I'm going to be knitting knitting 24 stitches, then 2 together, then 24 stitches and 2 together until it measures 140 stitches, and I'm this is the tutu so far. I have done 20 rows of 90 stitches. I stopped at 20 because I realised that it was getting close to the arms, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make straps that go on this side. and go across the back. So now, as you can see, it's quite a long piece. I am going to stitch together both sides across the top, the bottom, and then once I've stitched it all together, I will turn it the right way up, so it's going to be that way. Seal the opening so that it's all together, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put little loops of wool from the top here to right the way to the bottom. The reason I'm doubling it up is because it will make it stiffer. And the wool is quite stiff anyway, but I decided that it would be a lot stiffer if I double up and make it more, hopefully make it plume out a bit more. And once I've done that, I'm going to put loops on each side, and then I'm going to lace it like a corset on the back, otherwise it would be too tight for the doll. Well, it would fit the doll, but it would look much nicer if it was corseted rather than just stretched. So that's what I'm doing next, and what I'm going to do for the arms is I'm going to do 2 straps that are fairly wide, and I'm going to do them in what's called a drop stitch. So what I will do, I will let you know once I've done them, because I'm just going to do garter stitch. I'm going to cast on 10 stitches. I'm going to keep knitting until I feel that it fits the doll properly, and then I'm going to drop every 3rd stitch, and what that does is it creates a pattern and it makes the wool looser. So it's going to be a nicer pattern for it to spread across the arms and the shoulders. So once I've knit this together, I will get on with the straps, and I'll come back and I'll show you the first strap and how it looks and how I did it. So I've done the tutu so far. I threaded some wool through to cinch it, to give it that bustly effect. So I've put the ribbon through to make it look like a corset effect, and now I am going to sort out the sleeves. I've done 30 rows of 10. I also, just so that you know, I just put little loops of thread through, just put them through, tied them off, and that is for the ribbon to go through. So that's that. And obviously the ribbon's the same as the one she's got in her hair. I will show you what I do for the hair. It's really simple. You just thread a length of the colour that you want of the wool. You thread it through like so. Bring it. You thread it through each end like that. Then you tie it, and then that's one hair strand, and you can put as many as you want. I did do the same there, and then I decided to give a fringe, and you do as many as you want. You can, if you want, do all the back if you really want to do the back. Just to save time, I just did the top and let it fall down, which looks okay. and you cut it to the right lengths once you've put all of your strands in, because you'll find they're all slightly different lengths. So you cut it to the length you want, and I've added the little ribbon because I like the ribbon. Right, so now what I'm doing, I have done 30 rows. I now need to secure the bottom by knitting some wool into that. So I'll cut this off. That's the top. I haven't cast off yet because I'm needing to secure the bottom and I'm wanting to drop stitches. I've decided I'm going to drop every second stitch, so I'll cast off, drop a stitch, 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 cast off. I won't drop that stitch. So what I might do is drop a stitch, cast off, drop a stitch and leave the middle one, so that I don't want the edges coming out, but I do want the stitches to be dropped, and once that makes it a lot looser to shape the armholes. But before I do that, what I need to do is I need to secure this end, because I don't want the bottom of these stitches coming out. So I'm just going to do a little stitch along each and every stitch to secure it, like so. So there's 10, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is the last one on the end. I will leave that on. I'm cinching it in because that's the way I want it to be on the shoulder for when I sew it together. Cinch it in. Okay. Like that. That's the way I want it to lie. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tie them together. Cinch it right in. And this is the bit I'll be sewing to the top of the tutu. Right, so that I'll leave on because I want to use that to sew it. And now oops, come on, I'm going to cast that one off, drop that one, cast that one off, drop that one, you're dropping it right off, casting off, Oops. Done it wrong. Ooh. That one should go over that one to cast it off. That one needs to go over that one to cast it off, and the middle one. That one I'm going to cast off. Like so. That one gets just off. That one, cast it off. Like so. Right, so far I have now done the straps. I haven't sewn them in very well. I need to sew them in a bit tighter. So they now go over the arms, and I've added my little bow again, and I've added a little necklace. It's just a little tassel from Temu. And just a bit of wool around the neck. I've tightened these so that these splay out like a tutu, and all I have to do now is I need to do the shoes. I'm going to do the shoes now, and what I need to do is I need to do it exactly the same as given for doing the feet for the doll itself. And so what I need to do is I need to cast on 25 stitches, increase to 50 stitches in the next row, in a knit row, starting with a purl row. I then do 13 rows, then I knit 5, knit 2 together 16 times, knit 13, and then I'll have 34 stitches. Then I'll purl a row, then I will knit 4, knit 2 together 9 times, knit 12, ending with 25 stitches. So what that will do is it will create the shoes, and I'm doing them in pink, and once I've done them I'll sew them together. I have done one shoe, so I have done 25 stitches, increased to 50 on the next row, then 13 stocking stitches, and now I'm going to, I've done the same here, 25 increased to 50, 13 stocking stitch rows. Now I have to knit 5, then knit 2 together 16 times. I'll start knitting 5. Sorry, then you knit 2 together 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you should have 12 left. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, 13. Yeah, so then you have 13 left, and you can knit normal. And then you do a purl row. Or keep your purl row, keep your purl row. What I did is I did the row where you knit 2 together 9 times and you end up with 25 stitches. Then I purled a row and then I cast off those 25 stitches. And once I cast it off, so I've had to record again because my camera had turned off by mistake. So I just sewed along that edge, which is the cast off row, which will be the foot of the shoe, the bottom foot of the shoe. And now I'm just going to sew along here, and I'll come back once it's together and I'll show you how to do. So you just stitch it inside out to start with so that the stitches are on the inside, and then you turn it out and that will fit onto the foot. I'll come back when I've done that. So this is what the sock looks like once it's done, or the shoe I should say. And what you do is, that's the back because it's rounder, that's the front. Let's get it in the camera. So now what you do is you put the foot in so that the pointier bits at the front and the rounder bits at the back. Like so. And you cover the little sock. There we are, just like that one, so that the pointier bits at the front. There we are. And then what you do is you start weaving in the laces. So make sure you're not catching the doll's foot, because you don't want to catch the foot, you want to be able to take these off. You start working in one end, and you only want half of it to go in, and you weave across, across, and to the top. Pull that through a bit so that it's even. I'll take that off. And then you weave this one the opposite way. So this one goes across. Oops. Across. And across. And there we go. I mean, you could put a different colour so that it shows up better. I'll have to cut that off. That gives it the crisscrossy across the front. Then you cross the back of the foot and just keep coming up the leg. How many have I got? One. and then across like so. Put it a little bit higher because I think the other one's a bit higher. And then you just knot it. And as I say, you can take these off these shoes and make different shoes, so that whatever little girl or little boy gets the doll, they will decide what they're going to wear. So that's the doll complete. Let me get rid of all this spare wool. So there we are. Oops, her hair's a bit of a mess at the minute, so we need to put her hair back. And as I say, you can put a lot more hair on if you want. I've only done it so that it covers there, but you can put more hair on, and then the little girl or boy can tie up the hair as and when they want. And there we are, there she is, a little tutu, little necklace, and ballet shoes. So there we go, there she is. I will document the pattern on here so that you know all the different parts for the dress, which I created the dress, the doll, the basic doll pattern, where I got things from, what I used. So there she goes, and I will be putting a little video out. Right everyone, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Give me thumbs up and subscribe and like the video please. I am going to move on to show you how to use a circular knitting machine. The Centro circular knitting machines that I have, I've got the 22 stitch one and I've got the 48 stitch one. You can make dolls with that, you can make bags, you can make cardigans, scarves, hats, all sorts, and you can get them from Temu, and they're about 30 quid for the big one I think at the moment, and about 19 to 25 for the smaller one. So the next one I will be doing, I will show you how to do the little beanie hat, and I'm also going to be doing another doll. And just in case anyone wonders, this little girl will be going to a charity shop near me. I've got several. I've got an animal charity, I've got a cancer charity near me, so I'll make the decision which one. Other things that I make I will be advising if I'm sending them to a charity. I've got 9 little nieces and nephews, so I can't give them all this one doll. So it'll go to a charity and a little girl will love it. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and any questions, anything you're concerned about, you're not sure how I made it or what I used or what the method is, I'm more than happy to go through it with you. So until next time, hopefully next time it won't be so long. I've had some family issues this time, and unfortunately it's taken me away from actually working on the doll, but I think the next one will be fairly quick. So until then, bye for now.